La Princesse de Montpensier, a medieval story, motion picture set in the Middle Ages in France, and interesting to observe, notice the different attitudes, rules, rituals they had back then. Although this view wonders in such cases how much is fiction and how much is real. Yes, obviously, this is not a documentary, and even a documentary would have to speculate on many things. The dialogue, for instance, is not something you can present for certain, unless there will be letters, and then it depends on how much they rely on documents, which is the question here. Did they all have serious movies, and this is written and directed by Tavernier, Bernard Tavernier, a celebrated, serious, wonderful French filmmaker, and therefore we can expect, and it is a solid work of art. And they have consultants, historians. They ask, they look into documents, surely. But then, did they really act in those ways? I mean, the princess at one point, oh, actually in two scenes that I can recall, is naked in front of others. Like this is to be expected. These are the good manners of the age. Of course, there were many things which would look strange today. Not if you're in Scandinavia. Some other places. He saw a cat. So, potolește-te. That's why he's upset, and not that he saw a cat. The cat was probably 1 millimeter away on the other side of the window, glass, fortunately. So I'm thinking of something I've read about the dirtiness, and it was also in a documentary, I think, on Discovery Channel, History Channel. The dirtiness, they were urinating, defecating in the Versailles or all palaces, for all I know, in corners. So then there was the notion, which I think is still familiar in backward places, where the bride has to be a virgin, and so they take the sheet, and there has to be blood, which they present in this case to the father and father-in-law of the bride and groom, respectively. Even if the Princesse de Montpensier, the bride, could have had some relations, perhaps even coitus, before marriage. because she is involved in a very peculiar, to a certain extent, love formula. It's not the ménage à trois, which had the French echo, the French denomination. It translated into other languages because the French have that reputation, of course. But here it is not a hexagon, but a geometrical figure with more sides than three. Because there's Henri de Guise, a cousin. Well, being cousins was not such a problem then. It is not now, if we think Giuliani, friend, lawyer, advisor to the very stable genius, that may lose his job, inshallah, in 24 hours or so. Well, seeing as many states have rules that allow counting after the day of the election, and it may be close, Pennsylvania, maybe we'll wait a few days. It's also possible that the idiot would declare victory, just because he would then hope to steal it. Anyway, it's about the process, not about the would-be dictator. So Giuliani had this cousin he married. Happens even today, but still not on the scale of the Middle Ages, we might think. So there's Henry de Guise. She marries another man. This one seems to be the husband, rather pathetic at times, in love with her, sometimes brutal, but again, that was the age. At other times, he is passionate and in love, but doesn't find, it seems to this viewer, doesn't find the formula, doesn't find the attitude to be respectable. Interesting enough. And there's Lambert Wilson, the Count. He's older, he's a friend of the husband, but falls in love with a wife. So we have already 3 men and counting. Mesmerized, fascinated by the princess, who is torn at various moments between devotion. She marries against her will. There's an arranged marriage. And her affection, infatuation, one might think, with de Guise, who may be interested in her, but maybe not for as long as to call his feelings love. Definitely not if we think Thomas Mann. Thomas Mann has a short story in which a character says, this is not love we see in real life, even when we complain, oh, I love you so much, there are no words to. No, the personage says in Thomas Mann, love exists only in art, literature, because this is where you have a feeling that lasts. In real life, not really. And it applies to de Guise. To conclude, a film that was, in fact, I failed to mention that, but it's a good thing to emphasize at the end. It was selected for the Palme d'Or which is the most important prize in cinema, if you ask me, and probably many other people. The Oscars, strange. They don't always honor value. The Palme d'Or can be and is subjective. What trophy isn't? But still, it selects the most important, worthy movies, and it was selected, if I'm not mistaken, for the 2010 Cannes Film Festival, La Princesse. So it says a lot. It was one of the best movies of that year, and it's one of the best movies you can see, actually.